Hello. I hope you're all doing well. If not, I hope your day at least improves. Okay. So tonight we're going to be using this on top of the regular readings. It's quite like the messages I gave last time. So, let's see what else it has to say tonight. Okay. So, let's go ahead and see what collectives have to say to us tonight. Sorry, still feeling a little bit under the weather. Okay. What do we need to hear today? So, Goodness, sorry. Okay, so we have here the Four of Cups, the Two of Wands, and Death. So, essentially, what I'm getting here out of this is, appreciating what we have and showing a little bit of gratitude can sometimes go a long way. And that perhaps that's something that we need to be doing a little bit more of and rebalancing a little bit. And that this is something that likely will help us on our paths to growing and changing. And let's see what the oracle deck has to add on top of that. Your card is Full Moon in Taurus. Your dreams need a practical plan, which also does go very well. It's the Two of Wands as well, showing that planning for the future also might be needed here. So, Full Moon in Taurus says, sometimes you need to weave a bit of magic, and sometimes you need to be practical. And sometimes you need to find a combination of the two. This card suggests that this is where you are now. You need to use the laws of attraction to draw in what you want by imagining it, expecting it, welcoming it. But you need to balance that with taking down-to-earth steps towards your goals. This isn't about wishing on the moon and hoping for the best. It's about making something like a list of bullet points about how to achieve your dreams. If you're asking about money, this card heralds a change of financial fortunes depending on both your past actions and what you're expecting and therefore attracting. So if there's something you're hoping for, seems like now is the time to perhaps begin planning it for a little bit. Helping plan for that can help create that outcome. Let's see what the Oracle book has to say here. Oh. You have the power to shift energy. Remember that wherever you go, or who you are with, your magical energy adds value and sparkle to those who are in your company. Again, going with the theme that you can create whatever it is that you're wanting. Sometimes planning is the first step in that. That's it. The messages come up for me quite frequently recently. It's been a few days since they've thrown that one at me. Something else I will point out about that Oracle card too is, along with this Oracle deck, there's also a part in every entry that says attuned to the moon, which is usually like an action or an affirmation that you could be telling yourself to help you embody this energy. So this one in particular says, write down 10 things that you know are wonderful about you. So maybe appreciating yourself in particular is something that you could be doing right now. Hello, Beasto. I'm doing alright. How are you? I mean, I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I decided to push through it anyway, so. I'm sorry. Oof. I'm sorry. Did you get it figured out, though? It's good, at least. Okay. I don't know. Hopefully those, show up soon. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead. Do my foot. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully whoever you ordered from gets their shit figured out and then actually ship those to you soon. Okay. What message to those who might be watching me the internet? Well, I mean, if they don't have it, though, they shouldn't be listing it, so it's not exactly your fault. No. We have the sun, the five of coins reversed, and the fool reversed. So, with this, this situation that you're currently dealing with potentially something of a financial hardship that you've been facing for a while here is about to improve. But it doesn't necessarily just have to be a financial hardship, of course. The five of coins reversed points to just recovery in general. So, and obviously, sun being here. So. Any difficult that you've been dealing with currently is going to begin improving. And the fool reversed here, signifying perhaps that to me this is saying that this may have put a bit of a pause or an obstacle in your journey, and that that's something that you haven't been able to focus on as much as you perhaps would have liked. So, with things improving here, this is something that you should hopefully be able to get back to. Okay, let's see what the Oracle has to say here. things will get better. Okay. So, it popped out one card, but I kept shuffling because something told me to keep shuffling, and two more cards popped out. So, the first one here is South Node. Don't let your past hold you back. And then after that, we have Full Moon in Sagittarius. Look at the bigger picture. And the third one is North Node. Step out of your comfort zone. Also, hello, Perry. Thank you for stopping by. So, let's see what these have to say here. Okay. So let's go with South Node first. South Node says, the South Node, like the North Node, is a karmic point, but it's opposite to the North Node, and relates to the past. Perhaps even to past lives. Whatever you're going through, and whatever you're asking about, there's a chance that that age-old programming and conditioning is stopping you from achieving all that you might. Do you feel stuck in something? This card will often come as a sign that the situation or relationship you're asking about becomes suffocating, even toxic. It suggests that someone, you even, needs to be released, that there's some kind of addiction going on, or an unhealthy attachment that needs to be sorted out. One thing is for sure, when you get this card, you're being challenged to make some changes, even if staying where you are feels easier and safer. The part here that sticks out to me is the part about, old patterns. Particularly, like, old thought patterns. It's time to release those and let them go. So that you can begin pushing forward and making this positive change for yourself. Full Moon in Sagittarius. Full Moon in Sagittarius says, are you thinking too much about the details of your dilemma? Fretting over minutiae can be counterproductive. Or perhaps you're being all talk and no action. This card is a reminder that while it's good to think things through, sometimes you need to step back and look at the bigger picture. What do you then see about your current situation? What's the most positive thought you can have about it? Now is the time to count your blessings, even if you don't yet have exactly what you want. This card is also a reminder that we often have to take a few risks and go with uncertainty on this journey called life. Try to keep an open mind about what's for the best. The universe could surprise you. So essentially, um, the part that sticks out the most to me is the part about counting your blessings. This, in particular, I think, relates to the last collective reading, which was essentially appreciate what you do have and show a little gratitude. And to start planning for what it is that we want, and that can help create the change that we want. So I feel like these these two readings are a bit connected here, it seems like. And then North Node here says, there's a strong feeling when you get this card that it's time to leave the past behind somehow, because you are headed in the right direction. If you want to be happy and fulfilled, you need to get going towards doing the thing that scares you, within reason. This card is all about living your life purpose, which is possibly what you've asked about. It's urging you to dare to do something different with your life, and your direction. To take action. So are you willing to follow through and lead the life you incarnated to live? If you finally find the courage to make the leap, there's a good chance you'll come to ask yourself, why did I wait so long? So again, the important thing that I get out of this one is that it's time to take action. If you're afraid to step forward because you're afraid of the possibilities, this is essentially telling you not to worry about that too much. And just go for it. Okay. So let's see what the book here has to say. All of your hard work will soon pay off. So, again, the action that it's asking you to take will pay off. So there's not too much of a reason to worry about it so much. Hello, candy yams. Queue isn't quite open yet. It'll be open shortly. I'll be opening it here in a few minutes. Yeah. Yeah, I know that's like Beasto. I do that a lot. But yeah, I hope whoever needed to hear that message, I hope it helps you a little bit. And I certainly also resonated myself with that one a little bit too. So. Okay. And with that, it is now time to open queue. So. Okay. Queue is open. So if you would like to join now, you may go ahead and do so. Yeah. You know, it definitely goes in line with a lot of the things that have been popping up in your readings lately. So, like your readings have been lately, the ones that I've been giving you have been pointing towards things improving. Just coming with the addition that it's going to take a little bit of work, and that involves a lot of like releasing old patterns and kind of focusing on your passions and stuff. So I feel like this one doesn't certainly kind of fit for you a little bit. The command to join is listed right up there by Nightbot. It's exclamation point read me if you want to join. You're fine. Ooh. Took the bot a second there to catch up. You good? Take a drink. My throat is really rough today. Not feeling the best, but I decided to push through it anyway, so. Sorry if that slapped. Okay. So, Candy Yams, you're up first. Are you ready? Okay. What message does Candy Yams need to hear today? Picking up my voice right now. Okay. Ugh. Poor microphone. Pretty certain it's on its last legs. I really need an upgrade. I just don't have the fucking money right now. Anyway, so you have the Nine of Wands reversed, the Emperor, the Ace of Wands, and the Hermit. Essentially, what this is telling me is that perhaps you've been struggling a bit with some probably like a bit of a difficult situation. Likely some negative emotions. But this is essentially telling you that this is coming to an end. essentially that you need to embody the energy of the Emperor here. The Emperor being a sign of stability and bravery and a good leader. Which, not only signifying that you're going to find that energy as well, but like I said, something that perhaps you should embody a little bit. Particularly with the bravery part, I get the feeling. And with that, you're essentially going to find some new beginnings here. Potentially with beginning to find whatever it is that you're passionate about. Maybe you already know what that is. Maybe you already know what it is that you want to do. If you don't, the Hermit here is signifying the need for looking within yourself and figuring out what it is that you really know. Let's see what the Oracle deck has to say here. Yeah, anytime not the camera so much that's moving. It's the fact that really rather where my cards are placed, which is on the corner of my bed. So anytime I move, they move a little because the bed shifts a little bit. Yeah. New moon in Aries. It's time to take action. New moon in Aries says, the flame is lit. A wonderful new start beckons, and you're on the right track. Drawing this card is a superbly positive sign if there is something you want to happen in your life. Take this card as a big yes from the universe. This is the time to really tune into your dreams. You may still have a long way to go. After all, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. But you're on your way. Determination, self-assertion, and bravery are called for. Well, that's interesting. That's what I got out of the Emperor. But the hot fire of Aries is driving you towards success in whatever endeavor you're asking about. The caution? Don't go too fast. And forget your manners. Treat people well as you charge towards your goals. You'll create much better karma for yourself. So, again, like I said with the Emperor, embodying that energy is something you need to take moving forward. Maybe this is a bit of a bit of a scary subject, because you're not sure what will come out of it. But this is a sign that it's something that you need to do. And a sign, again, like the card said here, that you're on the right path. So, essentially just keep searching for whatever it is that you want. If you're uncertain, though, if you already know what that is, essentially this is your sign to follow that. Let me see what the book here has for you. So hello, Nine Dawns. Thank you for stopping by. And thank you for joining. The oracle wants to remind you that some of the best days of your life haven't happened yet. So, in other words, there are a lot of good things to come from this. And if you have been struggling, like the Nine of Wands, their signals, know that will come to an end. do I do yes or no questions? I could, but sometimes the answer isn't really that clear cut. It entirely depends on the question. But I hope that message helps you in some way, Candy Yams. No worries. Okay. Harry, you're up next. The way that I do year ahead readings is quite involved. So that's not really something that I offer currently because it would take way too long. But I can do. What the heck was that noise? Someone the other day asked about that too, and what I did offer was to do just a simple, more simple version of like 6-month reading. If you want to do that, and it'll cover most of the remaining year anyway. Just give me a moment here. Need to stretch out my leg. They're already starting to cramp. Ugh. Let's see. What are the next 6 months going to be like for Perry? Okay, Beasto. Earth had to fly onto the floor. 1 second. Okay. So, you have the Page of Coins, the Nine of Swords, the Six of Swords reversed, the Seven of Wands, the Star, and the Hierophant. So, essentially, what I'm getting from this is you might face a little bit of a struggle, particularly with the Nine of Swords here, and with the Six of Swords there as well, particularly being reversed. That, to me, says that this might be something that you struggle a bit with, and that you struggle a bit to move on from. But, or maybe this is even something that you're currently dealing with. Essentially, it's positive, though. Particularly with the last 3 cards here. The Seven of Wands signifying that moving on from this is something that is going to take some work. Probably a lot of hard work. But the Star here is essentially a sign of hope. And it is telling you to hold on to hope, especially if this is something that you are currently dealing with. The Page of Coins here also as well, telling you to also telling you to remain positive as well here. Particularly, so because of the reason I say that is because, oh, not adversity, anxiety. And just generally negative emotions. Like if anxiety is something that you are currently dealing with, it's essentially it might just be what you're already dealing with. I definitely don't get the, particularly with the Six of Swords reversed being there as well. I don't think it's going to be new anxiety, but rather signifying, those two together signifying that this is something that you're struggling with and something that you are essentially struggling to move away from. So this doesn't really, to me, say that this is like going to be a new situation, but rather that something that you're currently dealing with. um, but with the Page of Coins here, it's interesting also that it like came up as like the first card as well. So, for a bit of context, this particular deck is one of my favorites because it also has a storybook that accompanies it. Each of the images on these cards are based on stories. There's a storybook that is associated with this deck, which is wonderful because it helps you connect like a lot more deeply to the cards. The story that is associated with this card is essentially the character that is depicted on this card heralds the beginning of spring and summer. Essentially, that being the signal of a fresh start and the end of darkness. It is typically what the beginning of spring signifies. So that again is also lending itself towards improvement and being able to move away from these negative emotions that you're dealing with, this anxiety and whatever else it is that you're dealing with at the moment. And the Seven of Wands, like I said, signifying that it will take work. I know personally how hard it can be to let go of like anxiety and do your best to move on from those things and let go of it. So yeah, it usually does take some hard work. But the star here, like I said, also being a symbol of positivity here and a symbol of hope. And essentially also asking you to hold on to hope for just a little bit longer. And keep in mind that this is something that you can move past, that you can move on from. And the Hierophant, again, for me, signifies following your spiritual path. Essentially, just keep connecting with that, keep moving forward with that, and hopefully that will also help bring you some clarity in the situation and assist you in being able to move on from those negative feelings that you're currently dealing with. let's see what the Oracle deck has to say for you. What further insight do you have? I'm actually going to pull out a different deck for you because I can feel that one actually calling right now. One moment. Okay. So this deck can usually have some pretty powerful messages to share. And I feel like this one wants to share one of those messages with you currently. So I'm going to use the Empyrean. Okay. What insight do you have? So that card is Mystery. Display this for you here as well. Mystery is on page 90. Okay. Do not try to strain your eyes. Let the picture come into focus on its own time. It's a practice, coaxing our eagerness to sleep and letting ourselves just enjoy the unfolding. But imagine you were the first person to see the northern lights, standing in the bitter cold with otherworldly colors dancing around you. You likely wouldn't jump to trying to figure out what they were, you would just sit in awe. Let yourself be in that awe of your own life. Let yourself lose language and logic and conclusions, and see it all with your eyes wide. Be curious. Let yourself take wrong turns, hit dead ends, double back a couple times. Embrace the mystery. You will never have it all figured out. Relish in that. The part that sticks out the most to me is that last line. No one will ever have everything completely figured out. It's an ongoing journey. And it's okay to make mistakes. And it's okay to fall. Okay. Good. I'm glad. And let's see what the book has to say for you. Also, welcome back, Nine Downs. Book says you deserve a treat. If you haven't been appreciating yourself, now is the time to do that. Take time to relax and do something fun for yourself. But, I hope that message helps. Of course. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Nine Downs. That means it's your turn. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. You have the chariot, the moon reversed, Ten of Swords, and Knight of Swords reversed. So, with the Ten of Swords and the moon reversed here, I'm assuming that you had a falling out, and that potentially this is an ex of yours, I'm assuming. Um, to me, I'm not sure if this answers the last part of your question. Rather, this likely explains a bit why. About why he's on your mind a lot. Um, to me, this is saying that perhaps this isn't something that you got closure on, and that's something that you want to resolve. I'm going to assume that the Knight of Swords energy, Knight of Swords reverse energy was his. Essentially, Knight of Swords reversed being like, rudeness, bullying, um, potentially someone who deals a bit with an inferiority complex. So, um, like I said, I don't think this answers the last part of your question here, but rather potentially explains why you've been thinking about him a lot. Um, I get, like I said, I get the sense that perhaps there was this is something that ended badly and likely ended in a battle. Likely due to this energy. And that this is something that you'd like to change and resolve and get closure on. So essentially what I get out of that is that the reason he's popping up is because that's something that you did want closure on. Essentially, it's something that's popping up because it's something that you essentially need to heal from still. How to go about doing that? I'm not entirely sure. I could probably pull another card or two to see if you want some insight into that. The Oracle cards also might have some insight into that one as well. But I only say this from personal experience. I'm not in any way saying that this is something that you should do. Like, if you feel if it would be best otherwise, again, that's up to you. But personally, from my personal experience, sometimes it's best to just leave those doors closed. Reaching out to that sort of toxic person isn't really always the best idea. Because then it just kind of sucks you back into that cycle. That's not really a good thing. I'll pull another card here for you and see what it has to say. About how you can move forward with this situation. I feel like that doesn't quite answer it either. But the card that popped out is Knight of Wands. To me, I feel like your guides might be telling you that you already know the answer to this, so they're just kind of skirting around the issue purposefully. um, but what this card does represent is fearlessness. But that fearlessness can also lead to recklessness. So to me, that is saying to essentially perhaps be a little cautious. Okay, let's see what the Oracle has to say about this. Oh, well, that's why. Yeah. Void of course, Moon. Nothing will come of this situation. So, that's your answer. You also did get New Moon in Sagittarius, though. Which says luck is on your side. So, Void of Course Moon says, in a form of astrology known as horary, where an astrological chart is cast according to when the question is asked and decoded, a void of course moon means nothing will come of this matter, or the situation will bear no fruit. This may or may not be good news, depending on what you were asking. For example, if you were worried about something, whatever it was, this card can be taken as a sign that there is nothing to worry about. However, if you're asking about a new project of any kind, including a new relationship, it's a sign to adjust your expectations or change things so you get a different outcome. Remember, the cards can only predict what you are currently creating, and you can change that with both your behavior and beliefs. Yeah, essentially. So, the way things are currently, no. Nothing will come out of it. But that doesn't mean that things won't change. Because again, this is also the reason why I sometimes hesitate to give readings like this, or like readings into the future or something, or about specific situations, is that things always change. Nothing is ever set in stone. If there's ever anything that you don't like from a reading that you ever get from anyone, just remember that nothing is set in stone, and you always have the power to change things. And New Moon in Sagittarius says, whatever is coming your way, it looks set to put a smile on your face. The new moon in Sagittarius can mark the restart of fun after a period of feeling low. The energy is adventurous and even willing to take a few risks, but be careful you don't bet the farm on something here, as the Wheel of Fortune is still spinning. This card is about exploring life metaphorically, by exchanging big ideas with others, or just thinking about your own philosophies. Perhaps it's time to change your mind about something important. It can also signal that a trip away is coming up, if that's something you're working to achieve. But the overall message of this card is that whatever happens next will be some sort of gift, even if that simply means widening your worldview. So, something I'm going to point out here, particularly with this one, because it's something that's kind of come up a lot earlier, particularly with the collective readings I did at the beginning. With this deck, there was always like a section for like each card that's called Attuned to the Moon, which is an action or an affirmation that you could be telling yourself that essentially helps you embody the energy of this card. This one in particular says, count your blessings, literally. Write them down or say them out loud. So essentially, show gratitude for the things that you do have. And that may help change the energy a little bit. And just to point out both of them, I guess, I'll go back. For Void of Course Moon, the Attuned to the Moon is, I trust in my highest good, which is an affirmation that you could be telling yourself. Yeah. I know what that's like. But, whatever does happen, I hope it works out for the best. And I do wish you the best of luck with that. Essentially releasing any lingering like negative emotions that popped up because of this situation here. Releasing that as well could help. It kind of goes in line with the whole gratitude thing, somewhat. So essentially, the way that the way that I handle things like this in particular, particularly things that linger a little bit too long and much longer than is comfortable. If that's something you're into, there is something else that you could be doing here, along with the gratitude. So, what I do is, before I get to like the gratitude portion of that, what I usually do is to help essentially get rid of that lingering negativity. I write down the things that are causing that, the sources from that negativity, the things from my past traumas, whatever, that are still holding on. I write all those down. And for some people that can be enough. But if you want to take it a step further and make a bit of a ritual out of it, write that down on paper. Just out of a notebook. The first portion of that, like if you just write it down, I'd recommend just like writing that down in a journal. But if you want to take it a step further, just get some paper or like a notebook that you can tear pages out of. Write it down. Rip out those pages and burn them. If it helps, you can write down some affirmation of some kind that kind of helps you, helps embody that feeling, that goal that you hope to achieve in doing so. And you can essentially repeat that to yourself, either in your head or out loud, as you're burning it. Now, if you're struggling about like how to do that, particularly what I do, obviously you do need to be careful and do this safely, of course. But particularly what I do, and something really interesting that I have done with mine, is, well, I'll get to the interesting part here in a second. One moment, let me grab the item in question. Okay, so particularly what I do, I take an old candle jar. These aren't fully burned yet. Mostly because it creates a lot of smoke. So, you do have to be careful. But, I used an old candle jar that I cleaned out all the wax from. I tore up the pages, and I lit them on fire. Keeping an eye on them the entire time, of course. We don't want to start a fire here. But essentially, do it in a heat-proof container. If you have like a metal bowl of some sort, like it's stainless steel perhaps, you could use that. And take it outside and just set it on fire. Now, the reason that I've done mine in a candle jar is because I plan on keeping these ashes for two reasons. This isn't something that you have to do. The first portion of that should be enough. However, I like keeping on to my ashes as a reminder. A reminder of my past, a reminder of from the things that I have moved on from, and the things that I aim to heal from. And then I take that a step further with symbolism, essentially. So, what I do, I take these ashes, I turn them into ink. Doesn't take a whole lot to make ink. And then you can invest in a fountain pen or like a quill of some sort. And if you really, really want to amp up the symbolism, you can take that ink that you've created from the ashes of your past and use them to write your future. The scars of your past shape who you are, but they do not define you. You have the freedom to create the future that you want. And that is what these symbolize. And you take that you take that symbolism a little bit further, you turn it into ink. You literally write your future. Write out all the things that you're grateful for. Write all the things that you want to do. Write the things that you would like to create for yourself. With that ink that you've created from the ashes of your past. There are plenty of recipes online for how to create your own inks, but the most important part is you're going to need like a thickener of some sort. You can do that with raw honey, or you can do that with gum arabic. Gum arabic can be found from like most art supply stores or most like crafting good stores. I would recommend getting it in liquid form. You can get it in solid form, but there is already pre-made gum arabic in liquid form that is meant to be used in like inks and paints. It's not very expensive. So, and if you already have a pen like that, you already have one of the most important parts. And like as far as like jars, I'm sure you could find like some small jars for a decent price somewhere that you could like put your ink in. Um, but yeah, there are plenty of like recipes for ink, if that is something that you're interested in. There are plenty of recipes for how to make your own ink. Making my own ink was like something that I learned probably back in like middle school. I took a lot of art classes because I was a very creative type of person. So in my time in like middle school and high school, I took a lot of art classes, and that was something that I learned how to do. So, but recipes exist like everywhere these days. They're really easy to find. So, and uh, if you use water, um, if you use water, the other thing that you'll need is vinegar to make sure that your ink, because a lot of homemade inks are made from like natural sources, and because of that, you don't want the ink to mold. So vinegar is something that you'll need to add into them so that they don't mold. I don't know if that'll be an issue with ashes, but it's still probably something that you should consider just in case. But yeah, so and that's my personal approach to it. And let's see what the book has to say. Close your eyes and see the 18-year-old version of yourself sitting in front of you. Tell them what they need to know. That definitely goes very in line with the whole like writing out your past pain and past like trauma and all that negativity from your past. So yeah. Yeah, even if you just journal and write down all those things from your past that you want to let go of. Even that should be helpful. But then also remember not to just focus on the negative. Look for the positives as well and write down all the things that you're grateful for that are currently present. But yeah, I hope that message helped in some way. Yeah. Whatever happens with that situation, I wish you the best of luck. Okay. I hope you have a good night. Thank you again for stopping by. Of course. Thank you for joining. Okay. Hello again, Beasto. Okay. And with that, I am going to close out by pulling an oracle card and see what the book has to say. So, what message do you want to close out with? Okay. We got North Node. Step out of your comfort zone. North Node says, there's a strong feeling when you get this card that it's time to leave the past behind somehow, because you are headed in the right direction. If you want to be happy and fulfilled, you need to get going towards doing the thing that scares you, within reason. This card is all about living your life purpose, which is possibly what you've asked about. It's urging you to dare to do something different with your life, and your direction, to take action. So are you willing to follow through and lead the life you incarnated to live? If you finally find the courage to make the leap, there's a good chance you'll come to ask yourself, why did I wait so long? See what the book has to say. The Oracle is telling you to mix up your daily routine, to see major changes and energy shifts. Okay. And with that, it's unfortunately time that I head out. Thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Whether you just lurked or joined the queue, whatever. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope you all have a good night, or at the very least that it improves. And I will see you all another time.